I first noticed the bank when I moved to Brooklyn, which was in 1979. It's the tallest building in Brooklyn, and you can see it from all over the borough. And from other places as well. You can see it from Manhattan. You can see it on the approach to Governor's Island. You can see it when you're coming in from Queens. So it's a landmark. I think it's the tallest freestanding clock tower in the U.S. It either is or it used to be. And it was the first skyscraper in what was to be the new downtown Brooklyn. But then the Depression hit and nothing ever happened. The way I look for subjects is I walk around with the camera and I roam around Brooklyn usually, and I try to have a camera whenever I go out just in case I happen to see something that intrigues me. New York in 1979 and started working as an illustrator. I really had no interest in painting the bank or architecture because I don't like painting architecture. It usually requires drafting if you're going to be precise, and I couldn't find a way. My style is rather tight, and I couldn't find a way to paint architecture that would please me and be loose enough. And so 23 years later, after noticing the bank and being intrigued by it, I started experimenting and painting the dome. And that led to starting to pull back and paint more of the building, and then to pull back even more and start painting the environment. And that led to what has become a series of almost 120 paintings of the bank. When I painted this painting, I took photographs. A friend of mine was watering plants for friends of his, and I went with him and took pictures while he was watering the plants, and came back and took those pictures, and those pictures produced this painting. So I tend not to work literally. I tend to paint what I saw and what I felt when I was on the spot, not necessarily what is literally there. The first thing I do after I look at the pictures and decide what I want to paint, I start working directly on panel. And this is an 8x10 panel. And this is where I make all my mistakes. And I figure out what the composition will be and what I want to be in the picture. And then when I'm satisfied with the sketch, I move on to a larger piece. And sometimes this is an 11x14. And it's also a panel. I like working on panels because it's a good hard surface. And when the paintings start to become larger, I'll work on linen, or on linen, because it's lighter when it's like that painting back. When people look at my paintings, I want them to see beauty. I'm interested in painting beautiful things, and I want people to look around them and see that there are beautiful things in the midst of sometimes urban decay. Not everything that I paint is pretty, but I think the arrangement of the light and the color and the objects create beauty.